Pro Savings Days are on at Lowe's. Get up to 35% off select major appliances. Plus, My Lowe's Pro Rewards members get an additional 5% off when you buy 5 or more select GE, Whirlpool, and Electrolux kitchen or laundry major appliances. Lowe's, we help, you save. Valid through 123. Discount valid to My Lowe's Pro Rewards members only. Exclusions and other restrictions apply. Selection varies by location. While supplies last. See associate or Lowe's.com for details. Loyalty program subject to terms and conditions. Visit Lowe's.com/terms for details. Subject to change.
Hello, Tom. It's been a while since we've been able to talk about not only a United victory, but in an important game and with an intensity of performance we haven't seen in months, years.
Yeah, maybe years. I've definitely never been on the pod as happy as I am right now. Oh, man, it was exhilarating, actually.
Yeah, it was, yeah. I jumped up and celebrated a United goal with more gusto than had been for some time, I tell you that. Yeah.
We've not had many good times lately at all.
No, none at all. None at all.
It feels different. It really does.
It's been very hard to get out of the kind of negativity around the club, not only performances on the pitch, but the nonsense that's been happening in the transfer market, issues around Glazer ownership, protests outside the stadium, all of that. Been really hard to get out of a negative cycle. But I don't know what Ten Hag put in the tea this week, but he had them working. I mean, let's start at the beginning, shall we? Big team news: Ronaldo, Maguire, Shaw, all dropped, and rightly so, I think.
I think you look at that team and you think, wow, that's exciting. That really excited me seeing that team. It was the team I'd have wanted to play, but I think a lot of managers previous wouldn't have played it that we've had. Ollie certainly wouldn't have played it. I think Randick tried a couple of times to not play Ronaldo, but to then drop Maguire as well, captain, who you've made captain at the start in pre-season, and you've kind of stuck by a little. I think the two huge moves. I think the Shaw one was a little bit easier because Malacia was so good against Brentford. But yeah, it really made me excited before the game. But it also came with a lot of bravery and courage because, the doubters and the naysayers were sharpening their knives, waiting to go, yeah, United have lost again. And why did he drop Ronaldo? Why did he drop Maguire? Why did he drop his captain? You knew that all that was coming. Piers Morgan, I saw on Twitter, was like, I know we never listen to Piers Morgan, but he unfortunately speaks the same as what a lot of people speak. And he was like sharpening his knives in advance. And a lot of people would have been. So it was brave and brave but exciting.
Yeah, it was brave. Although in a sense he had no choice. Look, if United had lost playing this team or lost playing the more established players, he'd have been in for a lot of criticism and the pressure would have piled on. It'd have been 3 defeats to start the season. And even though he's new and got some bank of credit, he'd have been under just immense pressure already. And so this has turned it all around and he did it with a style of performance that, as I said, we just haven't seen for so long with United like at it early on, flying into the tackles. Martinez was just aggressive and everything he hasn't been for the last couple of games where he was sort of tentative and making mistakes and everyone wants to talk about his physicality. Well, physicality today was mega, wasn't it? He may be short in size, but he's got the Argentinian inside of him. Sorry to bring out the cliche, but he really does, doesn't he?
And a bit of Pete Heinzer at times.
I did a little bit, didn't he? Yeah, but with more control than more control than Pete Rojo. Anyway, we like an aggressive left-footed Argentinian defender, don't we? But he kind of set some of the tone, I thought. And Malacia was all over the place, and Bruno was flying into tackles, and everyone was. It was not without purpose, but with a lot of intensity. The press was on, and in a sense, to play in the way that United did, he had to drop Ronaldo. That's obvious.
Yeah.
And Maguire, well, slightly different in that he could probably have got away with this system with Maguire in that United were very deep for a lot of the time. But Varane obviously just gives a level of competence and security at the back that Maguire hasn't ever been able to do at United.
Yeah, I think across the board it was controlled aggression. And the good thing about, like you say, like you Bruno and Martinez, you love to see that type of player also being so aggressive, because Martinez is so good on the ball and that helped us so much. Like he moves the ball so fast and so cleanly and out from the back. Like Maguire's decent-ish on the ball, but then you compare him to Martinez and it's complete night and day. Like if a ball goes into Martinez, he can play a one-touch round the corner, or he can play a diagonal without taking a touch before, and it's opening up the pitch for us. It sets the tone so much. Like, there were a lot of concerns, I guess, about Martinez. I mean, there's been loads of people talking about his height, but you see how much he brings to the game today. Obviously, in a defensive sense, like that, like you say, Argentinian passion, which was just beautiful. Like I say, controlled aggression, diving out to make that block in the second half. That was, or maybe it was the first half, but it was amazing to see. But then also his ability on the ball, like from what we saw today, it was like an all-round package performance. It was just, you can't get much better than that in a defensive performance, apart from that obviously little mistake he made when De Gea tipped one around the corner. But yeah, he was superb, I thought.
Yeah, he was. And then you can see in that why Ten Hag was so keen to bring him to the club. Now, there'll be plenty of games this season where his height will be called into question again. Yeah. And I do think he's very active as a result. And more than just his height and people out jumping him, the fact that he has to be so aggressive is a bit of a problem. And sometimes you want to work the space, not the player all the time, but he doesn't do that. But with the ball, you can just see him being left-footed opens the pitch up. And he can take on riskier passes than Maguire would do. But it's actually less risky because he's competent enough to pull it off. So I think that it helped United, because obviously we were in a lot of pressure in terms of possession. I mean, Liverpool had 70% possession. But they weren't, obviously, the goal and one where Bruno tried to clear it and it smacked Martinez in the sort of underarm. As that. Dave made a good save going to his right, didn't he? But it wasn't really desperate times for most of the match. This was, like, dare I say it, but this was Ollie ball. This was defend deep and then break fast. So.
I did feel similar for sure. And like you say, like it wasn't a lucky win. Like Eriksen had that free kick, which Alisson saved superbly. That was an immense save. We even had that chance at the end where Martial maybe could have taken it round the keeper. We had Elanga at the post at the start. There was another great save from Rashford, from Alisson. Yeah. Like, we had the better chances throughout. So it wasn't like we were backs to the wall. Like you say, it might have been 75% possession or whatever it ended up being in the end. But that was... it didn't really look like Liverpool were going to score that much. And that's me saying that as like the most, when United are 2-0 up, like you feel so negative, like you feel so nervous, but I didn't feel like they were going to score that much. I think it was obviously a feeling inside of me. And then when they went to 2-1, I was like, oh God. But again, after that, I didn't feel like terrified, which I sometimes am in these kind of games.
I mean, it was certainly calculated risk to bring Fred on and then to take Eriksen off and just go a little bit more defensive, I guess. But they defended really well. I mean, they played quite narrow defensively, and they made the right kind of decisions. It helps that like Wan-Bissaka, Maguire, Lindelof, and Shaw aren't in there because all of them panic. So, Malacia seems. I mean, he seems like an all-round package. I don't know if one part of his game excels more than the other, but he's comfortable getting forward, isn't he? A lot of energy, and seems like defensively competent. That helps as well. Yeah, I thought he was awesome tonight. Actually, like I thought he just stuck by his man so tightly in a way that Shaw wouldn't be. Shaw wouldn't be that aggressive and tight on his man, which I think in times that might, like similar like you to say to about Martinez, that might come back to hurt him a little bit later in the season. But based on just the performance there, I thought he was awesome. And
in possession, he didn't do anything extraordinary, but he did what was needed of him today, and he kept the ball well. I thought for a first start in the Premier League and first, obviously, start at home, like I thought he was class. Like you couldn't really expect more of a, especially how much we got him for, 15 mil. Back. That's really solid.
I know, it almost looks like United have a sensible, coherent transfer policy, except, of course, we know that was all Erik Ten Hag's doing and nothing to do with the recruitment department. Yeah. No, and it will be hard for sure to get back in the team now, for sure.
You see him looking on the sideline, him and Maguire next to each other with the World Cup coming up in 3 months, and they must be thinking, well, I hope these guys get injured because that's the only way we're getting back in at this rate.
Well, very true. And talking links to the World Cup, I mean, should talk a little bit about Rashford and Sancho tonight. Neither of whom look like they'll be going to the World Cup because, I mean, his form hasn't been awesome for United, but also just Gareth Southgate seems to hate him for some unknown reason. And Rashford because he hasn't scored in 17 games before this and his form has been terrible for 2 years. But they were using the right way today, and coming back to Ollie Ball, United were prepared to go quite direct. I mean, at least use attack space, which I think Rashford often doesn't do very well. He actually goes into the crowded areas. And then Sancho, very controlled, technical, use space well, use players well around him. And obviously a fabulous opening goal for him. Just great piece of technique and skill to turn a crowded goal into an open goal. Yeah,
that kind of summarises him. He's so level-headed in the final third. And in the box, like sometimes I think to his detriment, he's almost a bit too casual at times. He needs maybe to be a bit more aggressive and assertive. But here, he was just so super composed, like a lot more composed than Alisson was, like diving to his left. And it obviously just made them all look silly. But like he has got that in his locker, and it's a real asset to have. I thought Rashford was actually awesome today as well. Like that was Rashford. Pretty near back to his best in many ways. Like you don't see, there's probably not many performances where he did perform as well as that. Like I think that bit where he beat 3 players, I think that they were all very tentative tackles from the Liverpool perspective, and then he flashed that shot over. Like that was the Marcus Rashford we all know and love, really. And he was running. I know running shouldn't be seen as being some amazing, incredible thing, but it's not something that he's always done. He just looked so on it. Everyone looked on it. But I think sometimes, well, there's parts of me thought we may never see that of Rashford again, but we saw it tonight. And if he can take that for the next 2 or 3 months, I don't see why he can't get back in that England squad. Because he's got
something
different
completely different.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. I'm sure if he's in good form that Southgate will want to take him because, I mean, he's obviously got that pace and directness that perhaps he won't get from some of the other forwards. Anyway, I could care less about England. I want to talk about United. And a brilliant opening goal for Sancho, just great composure and skill. And then Rashford, I mean, I imagine if you were able to take up all of the 76,000 people inside of Old Trafford, not too many of them would have had confidence in Marcus putting that away, giving Alisson the eyes and putting it in the near post. So I hope that's a sign of things to come. I can't say it is for sure because it's those kind of. Well, that's not the whole problem with Marcus. Clearly, there's bigger problems than just his finishing. But great finish today. Especially he's asked to play a different role. Yeah. It's not like he's getting out on the left and cutting inside and coming in to a crowded box and then running into blind alleys. He was asked to run into channels and to make space for balls over the top and to try and give Van der Vaart a problem. Because, he covers the ground great, Van der Vaart, but he can't cover all the ground. And those are the things that Marcus excelled at today. And a great finish as well, which is just perfect.
I think sometimes as well, it's easier for those types of players to play in these types of games because there's a lot more space in behind where he is most dangerous. Like you say, sometimes when he's running into blind alleys against deep blocks, it's not really his game. Whereas, especially when he first came through, you think about that goal against City, one of his first early ones, just running in behind Demichelis. Like that is kind of at his best. So in this kind of game, it kind of was suited for him, like in the same ways when he scored 2 against Liverpool, kind of 2 into the space behind, cutting in and shooting. And at his best as well, he's always been a fantastic finisher. There was always that talk about, oh, he's finishing too well, he's outperforming XG by so much, blah, 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 blah. Obviously, it was always going to catch up with him a little bit, but it took his goal so well, and it just encapsulated his whole performance. I felt like he was going to score that. Like I think in another game, I definitely wouldn't, but just based on his performance today, it just felt like he was going to score. And I think also maybe Alisson left that door open a little bit too much, because it did look like the goal was gaping there. It made it a little bit easier, but yeah, so good for him, and hopefully he can take it on a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, Alisson's great in one-on-one situations, so normally he's very imposing, isn't he, as a keeper? So, yeah, good for Marcus. I mean, one thing that did come to mind thinking about this game and just how intense United were for, like, almost all of it. It was really only the last 10 minutes that they dropped really, really deep and just tried to defend. But it's like they've been capable of this. Like, all this time, they've been capable of this.
Yeah.
And so, where has it been? And I'd like to be, well, I was going to say fly on the wall of the dressing room, but I don't know whether they'd be capable of articulating it or not. But inside the minds of some of the players who just felt like they couldn't be asked. Is that too reductive? I mean, it feels like it. And then come out with this kind of performance.
I don't know if it is too reductive. I think when you kind of get into that mindset of just, it's kind of, this is the way I play. And sometimes I think, especially when players are that much technically better than the opposition, you get into your mind, whereas maybe I don't need to be intense. Maybe I can win this game and try and save myself a little bit for a tougher one, or I can go at this a little bit half measured, or maybe I'm better when I'm a little bit calmer and I'm a little bit more composed. And when I play at intensity, I find it harder to perform, which I think sometimes United do when they do play it in intensity, because we sometimes haven't got the technical players to be able to play at an intense level. Like you think of Fred and McTominay, sometimes they give the ball away very easily when they try and play too fast. Whereas today, it did work, but we also had more technical able players in the team with Martinez and Varane and Eriksen. Like Eriksen, I thought, especially in that first half, was awesome at getting us out of our final third and getting into theirs. And the same with Martinez, just one touch passing to break lines and to set the guys free. I thought also McTominay was really good today. At times, obviously, he looks really like sluggish on the ball and gives it away a lot, but he was very good today. And I think also the coaching is just going to help in that regard. And you think that United should be playing at intense level in training, but by all accounts we weren't under Ollie and Rangnick. And you see Ten Hag on the training ground and wanting that intensity, and it's going to make them better footballers as well. So when they do translate what they're doing in training to the pitch, they will do it at a more intense level, and that's what obviously all the big clubs do. So why can't we do it?
Yeah, I mean, he is the tracksuit manager, isn't he, Ten Hag? I mean, he wants to be on the training field. He wants to be leading sessions. He has a very clear idea of what he wants, and we've seen those clips of him stopping training in order to give instructions to players. I mean, he's gone old school sometimes, making them run 13.8 kilometres or whatever it was after the previous game against Brentford. But then he's switched up training. It's not all about the rondos. Anyway, he knows what he wants. I think he knows how to get there. And the question is whether these players would respond. And if you're talking about attitude, like it looks like Malacia and Martinez, who've come into the side, they've got the right thing there, haven't they?
100%.
I mean, Malacia celebrating after the game was giving it some as well, which I'd love to see.
And when Martinez made that block, the diving block, and he's getting up and high-fiving his teammates and stuff, I love that. I love it because you see that a lot in like Italy, and I think Thiago Silva's big for it as well. Like Kimpembe, I've seen do it quite a bit as well. And I know it doesn't really mean that much, but I love it when a defender loves defending. And they just love nothing more than winning a tackle or making a block or the keeper making a save, and they go and celebrate with the keeper. I love that. And I think it also brings togetherness, a team spirit when you have that kind of lust for defending.
Yeah.
And and Malacia had it as well today. And you don't see that with Shaw and Maguire. Like, you don't see that same intensity, that want to defend, that will to defend, that love for defending.
I mean, it's a good question about both of them, really. I mean, because they've been part of a failure. That's Shaw and Malacia, that is. It's Shaw and Maguire. I'll get his name right eventually. Harry, big head, slab head. We haven't seen that level of intensity from them for a while. Shaw's basically had one good season in the 7 he's been at the club, and that was when there were no crowds there to get on his back.
That's interesting.
Harry just never looked like he fit the system especially the system that Rangnick and Ten Hag wanted to play high up the pitch. He might have fit a Mourinho system if Mourinho had got him the summer he wanted him. Sure, for sure. But I mean, it is hard to see a route back. Of course, like saying Varane is going to be fit all season, or that Malacia first season in the Premier League can play all the games. They're big asks. So hey, never say never. But if I was both of them, I'd be thinking, and if there really is an offer from Chelsea on the table from Maguire, whether it's money or a swap, I'd be tempted on both ends, wouldn't you? It's like, it feels like a Tuchel type player, actually. He does like to play the kind of more standard backline, whether it's a 4 or a 3, not so high up the pitch.
Yeah.
Anyway, let's getting on to other things, I suppose. But today's performance definitely brings those questions to mind.
It does. And I guess it's hard not to get carried away at this moment when you see such an upturn in performance. It's not just the win. It's just watching United in that 4-0 battering, which we just didn't expect in pre-season. We didn't expect that to be continuing into this era. And then to come back 8 days later and beat Liverpool with that type of performance, it's hard not to get carried away and think this is possible. This can happen under Ten Hag. This can be fruitful.
Plus, also 6 goals to 1 in our last 2 performances against Liverpool. I'm counting the Bangkok Super Cup, Super Century Cup, Century Challenge Cup.
We got into their heads over there, didn't we?
Definitely, yeah. Klopp's losing it.
Yes. Where are they in the league? Bottom 3? No, not quite.
Below us? Yeah, not quite. Just outside the bottom 3. Under pressure. Cracked badge.
It is.
Need
cracked
the full lot.
Yeah, cracked badge FC.
I did briefly catch an interview with Ten Hag on the pitch side, Sky Sports coverage with Roy Keane and Carragher and Gary Neville on the pitch. Dropping the F-bombs, Ten Hag.
Oh,
good talking about passion. Yeah.
Excellent, love it.
I'm not sure you need to. I mean, it's past the kids' bedtime, isn't it? You don't really need to be apologising. It's football as well.
Oh my God!
On.
I was watching quick side note, but I was watching the boxing on Saturday night. It was past 12 o'clock, and Anthony Joshua is swearing on TV on Sky Box Office.
Yeah.
And then they're apologising for him saying FNL. When you've literally been watching 2 guys smash each other around the head for an hour and a half. Yeah. And it's also 12:15 on Sky Box Office. You don't need to apologise.
I mean, I think if you're watching 2 guys bash the crap out of each other, you can cope with a few swear words, can't you? Yeah. Anyway, look, he's curt with his words. Ten Hag, he's not much of a talker. He's to the point, and if he needs to drop an F-bomb in there, so be it. And while we're talking about on the pitch stuff, the best thing Ronaldo did today by miles, apart from sit quietly on the bench being good boy, was greet Roy Keane and Gary Neville with hugs.
Yeah, I did
pitch side, and just completely ignored Jamie Carragher like he didn't exist. Good stuff.
That was a beautiful moment. Yeah, that was really funny. And Keane was really. I don't think Keane knew he was there at first. He's like, because he had to go at David Jones for ignoring him. He's like, oh, you're just ignoring me. And then he turned around and Ronaldo was there. But yeah, it was a lovely moment, actually, seeing Keane like that. And he also called him Ronaldo, which I thought was funny.
Yeah. Look, I don't know where we move on from here, as a team. We've got Southampton away next. I guess Dan will talk about that on Thursday, Friday. But it just, and we could get carried away with one performance, right? We could have got carried away with pre-season where it all looked good for a couple of games.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I'm going to learn and not say we're going to go to Southampton and smash them, but because it'll be very different when we're on the front foot and it's not about all the intensity of defending and the high fives when you clear off the line and last minute blocks and all of that. Be a completely different game, but well, at least we can move forward with some positivity. Yeah. Just everything was negative. Protests. I'm not saying it's negative to do. I'm fully on board with the protests. Yeah. Although I never believed that anyone would not go into the ground. It's too big an ask.
Especially for this game as well.
Fully on board with the protests. I want these owners out. I don't particularly want American private equity in, but it's again another discussion. But I just like that's negative. Everything around the transfer market and the summer business negative. The change in CEO and director of football hasn't produced different results. Negative. Like a desperate last minute scramble in the transfer window with millions spent on aging players feels a bit negative, or could do. I mean, I know a lot of people feel positive about that. Results negative. So it has been really negative, and just a big result against a big rival can change things around so quickly.
Yeah, and I think that's probably speak for a lot of people here, but it has a negative impact on your day-to-day life, or it does on mine anyway. You have this almost like thing just hanging over you. You have friends who support other teams who are laughing at you. You're looking through Twitter and everything you read is just negative and people complaining and like you say about the Glazers and stuff, quite rightly, but it does start to be a bit of a weight on your shoulders. So I feel like tonight is also a release of that. Like, it's just nice to have the positivity. And it also feels like, I think if we'd have lost badly tonight, and it makes you think, Ten Hag's not the man. So who is going to be a man? When's the man going to arrive? What's the point of this season going to be? Whereas now we can have a bit of positivity for the rest of the year. Sure, we might go and lose to Southampton next week, but at least you can kind of point to this game and go, it is there. Like, kind of the blueprint for some kind of success is there. We can build on that. And yeah, it just makes you think a little bit more positively about what's to come, rather than, another season wasted, another manager wasted, which I think a lot of people might have been thinking after this game if it had gone badly. And I think actually some people were probably thinking that before this game as well.
For sure. It's hard not to get your head going there, honestly. I mean, might have been 2 games, but I mean, if we'd lost today and at Southampton or something like that, and I know they're big what ifs, but just immense pressure, and you can see the way that the owners react to stuff that's happening all the time, right? Negativity, so go out and spunk £70 million on a player that absolutely was not, no way, ever part of a transfer list, or a list of names that they were going to go for in April when Ten Hag was appointed, or perhaps even last week. Right, because he was behind, apparently, Frankie de Jong and Adrien Rabiot in their pecking order. Yeah.
Why would you go for would you go for Rabiot if you knew that Casemiro might be able to come? We'll just go for third choice Casemiro instead of
I like either points to their absolute stupidity. Or it's all opportunistic and there's no real plan. And anyway, so the owners react to stuff and go out and spend money, when before they were looking at like free transfers and Marko Arnautovic as a cheapo. So Eriksen, freebie, Malacia, freebie and opportunistic. Martinez, expensive, but opportunistic, I think, because I don't know that he in fact, we know he wasn't on the list of names recommended by the transfer and recruitment department, of which there is a big team now under John Murtough and Andy O'Brien. So, again, opportunistic. It's like, it's sticking plasters over axe wounds. It's polishing the turd. It's lipstick on the pig. And so we know that the owners react, and this is why the Casemiro deal has been done. And nothing is actually going to change. Not that I'm not welcoming him for a season or 2 before inevitably his legs slipped out, and we're talking about £350,000 a week for a player who can't really hack it in the Premier League. So, anyway.
My fear as well is that after a game like today, the Glazers will look at that and be like, "Oh, you're kind of fine then, aren't you?" Well, we thought everything was really, really bad. We've just got this 70 million guy. You've not even played him. You're just beating Liverpool. Actually, things aren't as bad as we thought. Then for the next 9 days, we'll just see nothingness in the transfer market again. Because, like, we can't stop now. Like, I think we still need De Jong. I think we still need an attacking player. Surely Ronaldo's not going to stick about if he's only getting 5 minutes. So you can't rely on Elanga, Martial, Rashford and Sancho for the whole season, and Garnacho off the bench here and there. So we still need an attacker. Obviously, we're talking about that lad from Feyenoord,
Cody Gakpo.
Sorry. So we can't stop now, but my feeling is that maybe we will now, because that's kind of the Glazer way. Like you say, they react.
Yeah, well, exactly. We'll see. I mean, it struck me as utter madness, the thought that United might drop 100 million on Antony. Talented as he kind of looks with the ball, his output is well below that you'd expect of a £100 million player, and moving from Eredivisie to Premier League, it'll drop further. Yep. You talk about the Bundesliga tax. Eredivisie tax is severe, and any metric you want to go for on that, both in terms of quality of teams and the quality that will be expected of him. So that seems like utter madness. Gakpo would be a lot cheaper, apparently. But, hey, it's only madness if it doesn't work out and they don't bring to the team what we really need them to bring to the team. And also if spending that money means money is not spent elsewhere. Because still need another midfielder, right? Yeah,
100%.
Still don't actually have a controller in midfield.
And that's the thing, I think.
Still will have to play the way we played tonight in order to win games.
I think we'll have to rely on Eriksen being that controller, which Eriksen's obviously a very good player, but he's not the elite controller that we need to have at this team to be successful. Like, I think we saw in the second half his physicality really showed up a little bit towards the end of the game. And there was one bit where he was running after, I think, James Milner on the right hand side, and he was struggling to keep up with him. Like, Eriksen's fantastic on the ball. Don't laugh. Eriksen's fantastic on the ball, but he's not the most physical. He lost a couple of headers as well in the box just because he's a bit lightweight, and I think he's better further up the pitch. Whereas De Jong is actually, like, he's quick along the ground. Like, he's a little bit more physical than Eriksen, and he's also just a better controller, obviously. So I think you look at the transfer window, obviously all the problems that have happened, but if we somehow do end up getting Casemiro and De Jong in that midfield, you're like, wow, we actually could do something here.
All of a sudden, absolutely. Yeah. Real Madrid and the Barcelona player uniting at last. I mean, it doesn't look like De Jong's happening for whatever reason. He's just going to wait it out and wait for Barcelona to actually pay him the money that he's owed and he wants to stay there. So all understandable. And he apparently had a good game the other night in Barcelona, won over the weekend. So not that I saw it, but apparently he did.
The very optimistic part of my brain is going, he'd have watched tonight and he'd be like, yes, I want to go there. Whereas the negative side is like, nah, no.
Yeah. I mean, to come back to Casemiro, I know I started off on a rant there, totally out of context for the conversation we were having, but I couldn't help feel just a bit like, oh, this is a PR exercise by the Glazers. It's opportunistic. This isn't the man that they were thinking about. His profile is completely different from De Jong's and from Rabiot's. And great a player as he's been, he looks intense in a league that he's generally not in the same way. And his defensive output has been falling over, and he still doesn't give to United what United really need, which is control in the middle. Now he defends well within quite a narrow area of the pitch, and then gives it to someone else. And if he's doing that and then giving it to Scott McTominay or Fred, then the problem is going to continue, even if we'll be a bit more defensively sound. He's also quite slow, honestly. Anyway, I'm focusing on his two weaknesses, which is his passing range and his speed on the turn. But there are two key things in the Premier League, or at least the speed on the turn is, and the passing range is key because you don't have anyone else in midfield, central midfield that can pass the ball.
Yeah, and I think that's why it's so important that we get a controller to sit beside him, because it'll make him look so much better in the way that Modric and Kroos sitting next to him make him look so much better. Like, I'm not saying that anyone can play beside Modric and Kroos, but they're so good that they will make that someone look better in the same way that he also makes them look better because he does all their dirty work for them. But that's
absolutely.
That's what
absolutely.
midfielders
It's
are.
balance again,
exactly.
isn't it?
You've got to complement each other, and like you say, if Casemiro and McTominay are playing next to each other, they won't look as good as if Casemiro and De Jong would play next to each other, or even McTominay and De Jong next to each other. De Jong would make
quite.
But it's all about complementing each other. Though the weird thing is that Casemiro did say he loves playing beside Fred, and I think there was a stat that I saw that they haven't lost a game for Brazil together.
Yeah, interesting. And they have played in the pivot. It is different, but they have played in a double pivot together, and we know Fred can produce stuff further up the pitch. I mean, I'm not sure that I'd want him there ahead of Eriksen or Bruno, to be honest, further up the pitch if he's getting in their zone. Anyway, maybe Casemiro is the man to unlock Paul Pogba's potential.
You know what? You joke, but it probably would have been. Probably would have been. Oh, man, let's not talk about that.
Yeah. Let's not. Let's just we can celebrate a victory without having a dig at Paul Pogba or I don't know whether it was really. Casemiro, he probably won't even be. I'm not sure he'll even be ready in time for Southampton, given that they have to get a work permit through and stuff. So we'll see. He's got until like midday on Friday to register. Otherwise, it might be whoever we're playing after that, and I can't remember that far ahead of time.
Arsenal, I think.
So is it Arsenal? Is it Arsenal after Southampton?
I think so. Yeah.
Talking of it being crap being a United fan and people taking the piss, I have someone at my work who takes the piss quite a lot. Quite a lot. I'm thoroughly looking forward to and/or dreading that Arsenal game. So,
they've looked good so far.
They have. But you know who looked good tonight?
Yeah.
Manchester United.
We're back.
That's who looked good tonight. We're back, baby.
Signed a
We've
contract.
forgotten the last 10 years. Yeah, give Ten Hag a 10-year extension.
Absolutely. Give him a statue. Was that Gary Neville who said it? Yeah, he said, "Where do you want your statue building?" That was the worst accent I've ever heard.
That didn't sound anything like Gary Neville, but yeah.
It just sounded like a bloke. It just sounded like me, actually.
All right, well, this was great. It was thoroughly enjoyable. Liverpool are below us in the table. Talk about a crisis club. United are on the way up, we hope. Maybe even by the time we speak next, United will have signed De Jong, Anthony, Gakpo, Pele, George Best, all of them.
And also, the last time we lost 2 games at the start of the season, we won the league. So, just saying.
Yeah. Well, look, to that point, talking about league title, and I don't want to be too hyperbolic here. Liverpool 2 points out of 9, in where 90 odd is what you need to win, might be gone already.
Yeah. Genuinely, yeah.
I know it's only 3 games in, but
But
that is 7 points dropped.
They hadn't lost a game this calendar year, and you think about that run-in that they had towards the end of the season. I think they dropped 2 points? They dropped points in 2 games in about 15 or something. Like, yeah, it really could be the end for them, to be honest. Like, because you feel like they've got to go on a massive winning streak, whereas they've got a lot of injuries. They didn't look very good today. I think that is maybe something to point out. Like, for all United's qualities today, Liverpool were off it. They weren't at their intense best. Obviously had some injuries, but yeah, it's beautiful times to watch Liverpool a bit like this. There was like that time in COVID where they were just absolutely horrendous. That's beautiful.
Yes, we've had plenty of Schadenfreude directed at us, so we can enjoy a bit directed at them.
Yeah, why not?
Can't
for
we?
One night only, at least.
Anyway, yeah, exactly. Enjoy it when you can get it. I guess we'll leave it there. No backers content this week, but we are going to do another pod later in the week. And everyone else, thanks for listening. Really appreciate it.